Hey everybody, good morning. It's Dave here. And I'm just out here doing a little camper cleanup this morning. Years ago, when my parents started camping and going around in their motorhome, they picked up this hobby. And they picked up this hobby as they traveled around in their camper at different towns, and they'd stop and they would go into thrift stores and antique stores. They were collecting glassware, specifically antique crystal called Imperial Candlewick. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. But that's what got them started. And then my mom had her favorites. She would look for Fostoria and Fenton glass. And my dad, he had his favorites. He liked Carnival Glass and Milk Glass. And pretty soon this snowballed into a business for them, for my parents. As they traveled around, my dad would find a piece of Carnival Glass in a thrift store for $3 and then turn around and sell it for $30 or $50 or even more. So he just had this kind of like Midas touch with glassware. So over the years, it became a business for them, and it was something they enjoyed doing together as they traveled around in their motorhome. They even went to antique fairs. You know, they went to the antique fairs and sold their glass there. They would go to thrift shops and buy glass. And they just traveled around Arizona, California, and wherever they went, New Mexico and places, always looking for glass. And so I decided to do an interview with my dad. He's 85 years old, but he still gets out and collects glassware. My mom passed away a few years back in 2016, but he has continued to collect glassware. It's something he enjoys doing. It's something that he enjoys doing still to this day. And so I decided to go down and interview him, talking about Carnival Glass and Milk Glass. Just thought it would be neat to have him share some of his knowledge about those. And so this video I call the Carnival Connoisseur, and I think it fits him rather appropriately. So I hope you enjoy this. It's a little different. It's not really a travel video, but it ties into Holiday for Two because it was my parents who really inspired the song, and I hope you enjoy this. So here goes. Carnival Connoisseur, Al Farmer. You can find him at the 22nd Street Antique Mall, along with more other vendors there than you can imagine. I'll put a link in the video for it so you can find it if you're interested in looking for antiques. Hope you enjoy this. Carnival Connoisseur. Bye.
So someday when my ship comes in, I know just what we'll do. We'll pack our bags and quit our jobs and have a holiday for two.
Oh, you got the book of Candlewick. Uh-oh, he's got the book out.
Okay, beginning.
Watch out.
We started collecting Candlewick around mid-'80s.
Mm-hmm.
And after about a year of looking and buying stuff that had these little balls on it and finding out it wasn't Candlewick,
mm-hmm.
and paying twice what you should have for the piece, we decided to buy a book. This is one of the better, pardon the condition, but it's been well used. But it's called Candlewick, Jewel of the Imperial, and it's by Mary Wetzel. And Tom, well, it's got her name there. But this is a really good book. It's got all kinds of information in it.
Oh, yeah.
When it was made, pieces that made it up, pieces how to tell the old from the new. And
now this you can probably find at a lot of the antique stores, or bookstores.
You can probably best to buy it online.
Probably
get on Google, and they're still selling it, but they're used. I don't think they made any new. But anyhow, get a book when you collect Candlewick. Mm-hmm. There was a fellow here in town, in Tucson, that was a friend of mine. His name was Bill Threm. And he had a shop here in town for years called Crystal World. Mm-hmm. And he was a master engraver. He could take this piece like this here, piece of Candlewick, and if you took an ashtray, this is called an ashtray, and you can see it's got, it's got a little dirt on it, but you can see it's got engraving on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not etching, that's engraving. Somebody actually cut that. Well, Bill
Oh yeah, there.
used to do cutting for Imperial.
Like a flower.
Yeah, he
Sunflower.
was like I say, he was a master engraver.
How about that?
And if you broke your piece that you had like this, you could take him a piece of this Candlewick plane, and he could
Redo it?
redo it and take that
darned.
and make it, match that
Wow.
flower perfect.
That's quite an art.
Yeah, he did it. He passed away here a couple of years ago, unfortunately. A real fine engraver. But he told me, he said, Imperial made some of the finest crystal he ever made. He said,
And look in the book section of the antique stores, you'll find a lot of these books. That one's on Imperial Carnival Glass. And this one's just the Encyclopedia of Carnival Glass by Bill Edwards and Mike Carwile. So, what kind of pieces do you have over there, Dad? Oh, take a piece and let me see what you got over there.
well, I have a piece of Northwood's strawberry.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be considered marigold with a kind of a reddish colored sheen to it.
Let me get a picture of that there. Oh, that looks pretty.
Most Northwood pieces were marked. Not all of them were marked. This particular piece is not have the mold number on it, but it is definitely Northwoods, because they're the only one that made this pattern with these leaves in the center and so forth. There was another company, I think Millersburg made it, and I'm not sure about Spenton, but this piece, and the way you tell the old from the new is the older glass is lighter, usually in weight, and thin, and has what they call straw marks in the glass.
So the older glass is lighter?
Normally it's lighter.
Okay.
This piece here is made probably around 1915 or so.
Let me hold on to that. I'll get a closer picture of it while you're getting the other one right there. Yeah, that's pretty in the light. Look how it shines.
Yeah.
See the back of it there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is lighter. I can feel
Now,
it.
this piece is a piece made by Fenton, probably around 1915, 1920, real early, or maybe even earlier. Could go back to 1905 or 6. It's called Acorn.
Oh, yeah, I see the little acorns.
See the acorns and so forth?
I get closer. Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
Got nice color to it. The older Fenton was never marked. When I say older, up to probably 1925 or so, I think, when they stopped making the Carnival glass, and then they started coming out again. Fenton did in 1960s, and they always, the earlier Fenton, around 1970s, they marked with a Fenton mark in the bottom, and had the larger circle with the Fenton name.
Okay.
And then as the years progressed, like that's the 80s and 90s, the logo kept getting smaller and smaller. And now, of course, they're closed now. They went out of business. But the real new Fenton in the 90s had the real small circle with the little Fenton name in the middle. But this is the older. This is at least 100 years old.
And that pattern's acorn.
Acorn.
Okay.
Now, there was also Northwoods, and they made a lot of Carnival. And most of the Northwoods, they're like this piece here, you can't see very well, but there is a little N right here in the bottom, and it's got a circle around it, and the N has a line under it.
Oh, let me get the light here. I'll
See if you can.
Yeah, now I can kind of see it. Get the light just right.
But not all the Fenton pieces or Northwoods pieces were marked. Some of them got through and they didn't have the mark on them.
There it is. I saw it on the camera there.
But
Yep, little N.
it's got 3 different fruits.
Now, what color would you call that?
Okay, now this would be, you hold it up to the light, and it's a dark amethyst.
All right, let me try that. I'll got the light over here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that looks really pretty in the camera.
What they call amethyst. They made it in green. They made it in marigold. There's a blue color too.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to really, if you're collecting carnival glass, you should have a book because colors matter.
Mm-hmm.
One piece, this piece, for an example.
Like this book.
Yeah. This piece here, of course, that's an earlier edition. They've reissued. They got a newer book out than that. But this piece, now say for an example, being marigold, you look at the base color of glass, and it's basically clear.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they determine the color of the carnival glass. When you hold the bowl up to the light, if it's green, it will be the glass will be green.
Okay.
Not only just the color on the sprayed on it, but the color of the glass itself.
Okay.
Same way with amethyst. It'll be amethyst color. Blue will be a blue color. Now this piece here is made by Millersburg. It's a rare piece. It's called Holly Sprig, and it's called a card tray.
Get in there and get a picture.
This is made by Millersburg, and Millersburg, probably of all the carnival glass collecting, is the most scarce. It was only made a couple of years. So if you find Millersburg, you're lucky. And usually the Millersburg pieces will have a shine to it, like this does, what they call a watery look to it. Okay, Carnival Glass Part 2.
Yeah. It's time for some wine.
We were talking earlier about the Northwoods, also Fenton, and Millersburg. Now, Imperial was pretty big in making carnival glass. They made it, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but somewhere around 1908, 1910, somewhere in there, they started making carnival. They only made it up to about 1925. And then they stopped making carnival glass. Don't quote me exactly on the year, but I'm within a year one way or the other. But the older Imperial they're the only one, as far as I'm concerned, that comes close to Millersburg as far as the finishes on their pieces. This particular piece is called Grape, which is real common, and it's marigold, but it's got a real good color to it, and it's got nice sheen.
Oh yeah. Certainly.
Most of the old Imperial pieces will have that, and then when they reissued it later on, their colors were pretty good too.
Yeah.
But they didn't mark the old carnival at all. It's light.
And different ways you hold it, it shines differently too. I notice.
And
it comes through on the camera.
What they did, if you read up on it, this glass was hot, they sprayed it with a chemical. And then that chemical gave it this shine, and they baked it on. It will come off. I mean, over the years, if you leave it out in the sunlight or use harsh chemicals or constant rubbing like that, if it's in use, actually put it to use and put stuff in it, eventually some of the color will wear off. There was a company called Dugan Diamond, I think. They closed up in 1930, I think, somewhere around there. The factory burned down, but some of their pieces are really nice. This is a piece, I've got it marked here, I think it's what they call single flower, and this peach opalescent. And this peach opalescent has the kind of like a milk glass edging on it, and then it's got a peach color to it. And
now this is Dugan, you said, right?
This is Dugan,
See,
yeah.
This
Dugan
makes
glass.
me think of Fenton sometimes, because they did this kind of thing around the edge
and
a lot.
And if you hold it up, there's a little flower in the middle there of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah, I can see it now.
But if you're thinking about collecting Carnival glass, it's good to buy the books.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many different patterns and colors. And certain colors are worth, well, for an example, in Tombstone, when my wife and I, her mother, went to Tombstone with our motorhome, and for, I think it was our 35th anniversary. Anyway, we were down there, and we walked over to this antique store, and there was a punch bowl in this antique store.
Mm-hmm.
And it was made by Northwoods. And it had a green color to it. And I got it. She almost divorced me, but I paid $350, I think it was, for the bowl.
Oh, that one, okay.
Stand.
Yep.
And it had 2 or 3 cups, 3 I think, or 4 of the cups with it. The dealer that priced it and put it in that mall in Tombstone was from California.
Mm-hmm.
I got it home. I didn't have my books with me, but I knew it wasn't priced. It was a different green than what they had priced it at. It was called lime green, not regular green.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to make a long story short, it went to an auction in Illinois, and it sold for $10,000.
Wow. That was pretty good. That was a good find.
Yes, it was. That's why you got to be careful when you price things.
Now, who made that bowl that you were?
It was made by Northwoods.
Northwoods, okay.
It was marked in perfect shape, beautiful color.
So somebody just didn't do their research.
They didn't do their research.
Somebody didn't do their research. So it pays to read your books.
One thing we didn't talk about is milk glass. And I get laughed at because I like Carnival glass and I like crystal, but I really like milk glass. And especially the Westmoreland. They made really good quality glass. Fenton as well, and Duncan Miller also made milk glass. And then there's companies like Indiana and so forth, L.E. Smith, some of those people, they made milk glass as well. But the old milk glass, going back into the early years, 1910s, 20s, up in there, it didn't have this. Well, there's a piece right there that's old, and it didn't have the white as white. It had more of a creamy color to it, the older glass. But to tell really good milk glass is you get it out in the light and hold it up to the sun, and a really good quality milk glass will have a little opaqueness, they call it. And when you hold it up, it'll have almost like an opal, fiery look on the edge.
Okay.
That's a sign of really good quality milk glass. And
now, what pattern is that?
This is called panel grape. This is one of Westmoreland's more popular patterns, and it's quite abundant. And it's most of their pieces of this panel grape was marked. They have a little WG right in the middle there, and that's for Westmoreland glass.
I can't tell if it's good.
It's good quality milk glass.
There we go. There, I got it in focus there. WG. Yeah, I see this. Got a W with a circle around it.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy. Let me get it in the light. Hold
on.
Hold it up in the light there. Oh yeah, I can kind of see the edges, around the edges there. Yep.
Now here's an older piece. This was probably made by McKee or somebody like that in the early 1910, 1920. When you hold it up to the light, you can check the edging on it. See how it's got that opalescence, that kind of a fiery look to it? Okay. There's a baby there.
Get this. Is this panel grape too?
That's panel grape. Westmoreland.
And you're not getting rid of that, huh?
No, that's my baby.
You got all the cups there and everything. Look at all those cups. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 14 cups there. Holy cow.
Yeah, should be 15.
Okay, I must have missed one when I counted. But you're still looking for a milk glass
Punch the ladle.
ladle. So if anybody out there finds a milk glass ladle that matches this but looks...
And it won't have any, it's plain.
This is just clear.
Grapes or anything on it.
I'll be darned.
The ladle is plain.
As you can see, it's got quite a collection here. Some of these I think we just saw. Yep.
The vases are very collectible. But my suggestion would be anybody getting into it is buy a book.
Carnival Connoisseur.
Tell them if they have a piece of Carnival glass or crystal or milk glass or something, they have difficulty in identifying it, you contact the mall and they'll get a hold of me and I'll be glad to do it.
All right.
If I can. And I have no charge, free.
Free service.
Can't beat the price.
Yep.
That's expensive.
So what I'm going to have to do is put a picture of your booth on there, so you can find, because you have a whole bunch of stuff in the booth. And what mall is that at, Dad?
22nd Street.
Antique Mall. Okay. So if anybody's interested in looking for Carnival Glass in Tucson, not in Phoenix, it's in Tucson. 22nd Street Antique Mall. And what street? What are the cross streets there?
Just before they get to between Swan and Craycroft.
Swan and Craycroft. Okay, I'll put a link to that in there, so that if anybody's interested and sees this video and they would like to go look for Carnival Glass or Candlewick or any of that American Fostoria that we showed you, go to the Antique Mall in Tucson, the 22nd Street Antique Mall, and you can find it. What's your booth number?
887.
887, but there's all kinds of... When you get to a lot of these antique malls, there are several people, or vendors, I guess you would call them. They're in one mall. They might have 100 different people in the mall. They all have different booths. Some people collect World War II memorabilia. Some people collect glass. Some people collect dolls. I've seen old magazine collections like Life magazine, old toys. Right? Old toys that go back to the 1920s, 30s,
Musical
40s.
instruments.
Musical instruments. Yeah, you can just find all kinds of stuff in these. Dave here, and I want to show you how to find the 22nd Street Antique Mall in Tucson, Arizona. So if you ever get a chance to go out there and you want to look for some antiques, here's a great place to go. If you're coming in from the north of Tucson on I-10, or coming in south on the I-10, you want to get off on 22nd Street. That's the best way. You can also get on, you can also come in from the south on, what is this? I think this is Craycroft. No, Alvernon. And then you can come up to 22nd Street Antique Mall. It's close to the corner of Craycroft and 22nd Street, just a little west of there, or east of Swan and 22nd Street. Let me switch to the satellite mode. And there you will find the 22nd Street Antique Mall. There's parking in north of the building right up here. There's also parking on the south. And there are lots of vendors in there, so if you have a particular interest that you're looking for, you can be sure to find it in there. And if you want to look for Carnival Glass from my father, Al Farmer, be sure to go to case 887. That's where he has all of his glass stored in there. And you can take a look at it. He's got milk glass and Carnival glass, and all kinds of stuff in there, even some Aladdin lamps. So check it out. Hope you get a chance to go down there. Thanks. Bye.